filters off the real estate game and talk about what's really shaping our communities, our money, and our future. Today, I want to dive into something that a lot of people feel, but not enough people say out loud. The way your community is treated by law enforcement has a lot to do with race on the surface and a whole lot more to do with real estate, property taxes, and class warfare. Now, don't get me wrong, race is in the picture. It always is because of the way America was built. But if you look closely, it's not as simple as black neighborhoods versus white neighborhoods. In fact, in what we call black communities, you've got black families, yes, but also white families, Latino families, Caribbean families, Asian families, all living side by side. What unites those households isn't color, it's the property values, the tax base, and ultimately the class they're placed in. Let's break it down. Every city in America runs on property taxes. That's the engine. Your schools, your libraries, your roads, and yes, your police department. When you live in a neighborhood with strong property values, that tax base is heavy. That means the city sees you as a community worth investing in, worth protecting. Law enforcement in those areas behaves like private security, fast response times, polite interactions, and a sense of protection. But in communities where property values is lower, the city isn't getting the same revenue. And where the flip happens. Here's where the flip happens. Those neighborhoods are more likely to be over policed, over ticketed, and surveilled. Not because the people are worse, but because the system is squeezing those areas for revenue in other ways, by ways of tickets, fines, court fees, code violations. That's not protection, that's extraction. And it's directly tied to the value of your real estate. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. People love to say it's about race. And yes, race is part of the story. Historically, black and brown communities have been redlined, undervalued, and denied loans. That's undeniable. But here's the truth. If you drop working class family into the same undervalued neighborhood, they're treated the same way. If you move a wealthy black family into a gated community with high taxes per year, high tax bills per year, guess what? Law enforcement is treating them as stakeholders, not suspects. That's because what we're really looking at is class warfare dressed up in racial undertones. Property value equals political value. Tax base equals voice. The lower your property taxes, the easier it is for your community to be treated like a liability instead of an asset, no matter who lives there or what color you are. This is why real estate is not just about buying a house, it's about buying into power. When you purchase property in a high value area, your tax dollars buy influence, whether you know it or not. Your family automatically gets access to stronger schools, better services, and a police department that sees you as a priority. But when you're locked into undervalued communities, often by design, you're stuck in a cycle. Your taxes are lower, yes, but the trade off is fewer resources, less protection, and more exploitation. That's not racial warfare, that's a structural class warfare designed to keep certain communities feeding the system without ever benefiting from it. Now, let's be real. Because of history, yes, more black and brown people are concentrated in undervalued communities. That's why this conversation feels racial because it overlaps with America's racial past. But here's the thing, if you zoom out, it's not just race, it's class. Go look at trailer parks across rural America. Poor white families, their property values are low. Their communities are ignored until election season, then left to fend for themselves. They're not protected, they're policed. Go look at immigrant communities. Same story, especially now with all this crazy stuff going on with Trump deporting even American citizens. Yeah, we live in strange times. The system doesn't really care what color you are. It cares what your property is worth and what your property taxes are funding. That's the true line in the sand. Why does this matter to you? Hmm? Why does this matter for homeowners, renters, and investors? Because understanding this system gives you leverage. If you're in a lower valued area, then you need to know that your fight isn't just against crime, it's against disinvestment. If you're an investor, understand that where you put your money shapes not just your return, but the way entire communities are treated. And if you're a renter dreaming of ownership, understand that the move you make next can put you on one side of the line or the other. Real estate isn't just about square footage and price per square foot. It's about power, protection, and position. Where you live determines how you're treated, not by the market, but by the system itself. I personally had experience with this because I owned a barbershop salon boutique for a number of years, well over a decade, and it was placed in a predominantly black neighborhood. And although I did not live in the community, I had a business there, and I would stop more so every time I was either going to the shop or leaving the shop. I had been pull out my car after a stop for no reason, only for them to search my car. Then when they find nothing, to go ahead and say, "Oh, you can go." So I understand it, and so and I'm and then when I'm speaking to people, I'm not talking to specifically just black people here because it's important that we understand the game that's being played, and you can't change what's going on. It's been going on for too long, but you can change how it affects you, right? So it's time for us to start taking home ownership serious because it really, really provide great benefits and security for yourself and your family. I would love to have a conversation with you. So next time someone tells you policing is about race, remember this: it's about class, it's about property, and it's about the whole city. Those who see the city as an asset versus who they see as expendable. Race is the mass, class is the engine. And real estate, that's the battlefield. Yeah, because here we don't just talk about houses, we talk about legacy, power, and the truth behind the system. So if you like this content, like and share and subscribe. Thank you. This is Dre with Real Talk Real Estate. Have a great day.